What exactly is a digital strategy or a marketing strategy, even for that point? Wikipedia points us to a definition that says marketing strategy has the fundamental goal of increasing sales and achieving a sustainable competitive advantage. So I think the first thing is, what is the goal overall for why you're existing in social media? For most businesses, it really ultimately comes down to something like sales. But if you're a nonprofit, it could be about creating awareness around a specific issue or maybe even driving donations. If you're in B2B, you probably still want to drive sales. So most of the time, our ultimate goal is about driving sales. And how do we drive sales? Well, it's with a sustainable competitive advantage. So how do we create an advantage for ourselves that's sustainable? And if you ever read about business strategy, which is something I love to read about, you'll read maybe about Michael Porter and talking about different ways that businesses can achieve strategic differentiation and achieve that competitive advantage. But that's what it's really all about, is how do you build a clear approach to marketing that sets you aside from your competitors so people choose you? So if you continue to read on with the Wikipedia definition, there's a few things that I think are worth pointing out. So I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Let's focus on what do we need to take away. The first thing is, start with your goal in mind. What is it that you want to achieve at a high level? It's also important to keep in mind that your marketing strategy or your digital strategy could in fact be short-term or long-term. So sometimes people think, well, this needs to be a long-term approach, but it could be shorter term, especially if you have a specific short-term goal that you need to reach. So we think of goal as sales overall, but we could break it down even further and say, well, I want to maybe drive sales of the upcoming boot camp. So I could start with a goal that's much more tangible than just drive sales in general. And that could be a short-term goal. Maybe the boot camp is 2 months away. Or maybe my goal is just to grow all of my sales by a certain percentage this year. But you can have a short-term goal or a long-term goal. And it's also important to think about how you want to think about your overarching goal, because it could be a high-level goal, or you may have some more tactical and specific goals based on your business and where you're at. The important thing to keep in mind is that a strategy in general, whether it's a marketing strategy, a business strategy, or a digital strategy, is really about how you achieve that goal. So if I say, well, my goal is to drive sales in my upcoming boot camp, my strategy is, well, how am I going to go about it? Maybe one of my strategy is to drive leads, because if I get more leads in, then I can convert those leads. But the strategy is the approach that you use to achieve the goal. So think of strategy as your approach. Tactics, on the other hand, can be encompassed by a strategy, and that's where you usually will really put things like, I want a Facebook page or a website or whatever else it is you're trying to create. So a tactic should be encompassed by a strategy. So here's what I mean by that. If my goal is to drive sales of my upcoming boot camp, one of my strategies is to increase the number of leads that I'm getting. So my strategy is to increase leads, because I know if I get more leads, I can convert some of these people. So then I get into, well, okay, what is in my toolbox to get more leads? Maybe I'm going to run a Facebook ad. Maybe I need to do some A/B testing on my website to see how I can grow my conversion rate, and so on and so forth. And we'll get into the difference between an objective, a strategy, and a tactic a little bit later. But what's important as a starting point is to understand what a digital strategy really is all about. Now, as we think about a digital strategy versus a marketing strategy, these should go hand in hand. So your marketing strategy should define your overall approach to growing your business and meeting your business goals. Your digital strategy is about how digital will support those at a strategic level. For example, I could say, well, I'm working for maybe, let's say, a Fortune 500 brand, and for my brand to grow this year, my strategy from an overall marketing standpoint is word of mouth and building equity as the best tasting product. So I have two very specific strategies from an overall marketing standpoint. Now my digital strategies are going to be, well, how does digital support those marketing strategies? So in a solid business plan, your digital strategies should be supporting your marketing strategies so that everything is working together to achieve your business goals. This is a little bit high level, but we'll dig into exactly what all of this means and importantly, how to bring it to life for you. What's important to keep in mind at this point is that a digital strategy is really your roadmap for success, and it's how you decide where to invest your time and effort to maximize your business results.